Everyone, I am Jamie. I am Jamie Prem-Dash, Children's Behavioral Health Bureau Chief.
And you can call the next person, Jamie.
Sure, Deborah, you're next.
Hi, I'm Deborah Warren. I'm the Deputy Director of Human Services and the Community Services Board Executive Director, and it's an honor to be here. And hi, Eric King, how are you? We know each other from Madison.
Doing well.
Deborah, do you want to call in the next? You don't have to. You
Oh,
can
and
pass.
Judy Haddon.
Judy Haddon, a community member on the partnership, and also on the partnership's mental health and wellness committee, and serve on the schools student services counseling, basically advisory committee. Thanks. I'll go to Ann O'Brien.
Hi, I'm Ann O'Brien, community member on the partnership, also the parent of a kindergartner and second grader in APS. And as my day job, I'm the Director of Communications at the National Association for Federally Impacted Schools. So I am going to call on Michael Brown.
Good afternoon, Michael Brown, community member of the partnership.
Michael, did you want to pass it?
Sorry, did you hear me?
No, I didn't.
I'll jump in. I am Robert Sharp, the Arlington County Public Health Division, and I will call on Rick Stroback. I think I saw his name come up.
Hello, it's Rick Stroback. I represent the juvenile court. I don't know if he's gone yet, but I'm going to call on Dave Carlson.
I am David Carlson, and I'm a community member of the partnership, parent of 2 kids that went all the way through Arlington Public Schools. And one of them is now, I'm tenure track law professor at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. I know, he's still a lawyer, right?
So I think we still have
Oh, I have to call
Kirsten.
Who have we missed? So
Oh,
we get
Grace.
Michael
No,
Brown
I
again?
haven't gone. I'm Laura Newton. I'm the Director of Student Services representing APS. And I'll call on Megan.
I went already. I'm going to pass it
Ben?
to Grace.
Thank you.
Sally put me in full screen and I lost my unmute button. Hi, I'm Grace Wagner. I'm a data specialist with the partnership and with APS.
How about Kirsten hasn't gone?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kirsten Fuller. I am a prevention specialist with the prevention unit under Lynn. Am I the last one, or do I need to pass it to someone?
Did Kim go? I'm not sure if she's near.
I haven't, so I can go. I'm Kimberly Baldini. I'm the Youth Services Section Leader with Parks and Recreation.
I'm John Andelin, partnership member with the Community Foundation.
Kim DeBlau, community member, co-chair, Youth Mental Health and Wellness Committee.
So I think that might be everybody. Welcome everyone, and thanks for making this special time for our May meeting. I wish it were May, although we might be having cicadas start all over again, so I'm not sure.
That's
I want
right.
to turn back the clock. So I hope everyone can hear over the deafening din of cicadas around here. So we're really excited to have a guest with us this evening, Eric King, who is the CEO of the Capital Youth Empowerment Program. And he has a deck and hopefully can bring that up. But Eric, I'll turn it to you.
Yes, and Eric, actually, before you start, I apologize, Megan, that we did not put this on the agenda. We want to insert an acknowledgement of June as Pride Month, and Sally has a couple of comments to make for us before we get to Eric.
you can't see it, but I'm wearing my teeny tiny little pride button. But my pride is not teeny tiny. I am an ally and very happy to be able to introduce, yes, as since for the last many years, we've been recognizing Pride Month at Arlington County, and my little notes of statements not opening, but if you'll notice this, the county has the rainbow flag up, and I guess we all are recognizing that day. So sorry, I just want to, as you probably know, it's LGBTQ Pride Month, and we just wanted to make sure we noted that important time. And I'm sorry, I can't be running the meeting and have my notes come up at the same time. Let me grab this. I feel really dumb. Okay. I can't blame the cicadas or anything. It's just me. I was just driving all over the county though, so that kind of gave it to me.
It's okay, take your time.
Okay, so as we all know, the history of the LGBTQ Pride movement.
Sally, you put yourself on mute accidentally.
Well, of course I did.
It's okay.
The history of LGBTQ Pride began with a very violent uprising at the Stonewall Inn in June of 1969 in New York City. And it culminating after some violence, since being homosexual at that time was illegal. And it was a call to action allied with many other civil rights movements happening at the time to recognize lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people in our community. It's now a time to rejoice at the triumphs that have been made for the trailblazing individuals who have fought so bravely and against a continuing rising tide, including now with transgender people trying to be banned from sports, which I was listening to an NPR interview the other day, and two transgender people were talking about they're just the easiest mark right now. And that's why legislation goes after them. It starts with them, and then it goes for the next person and the next person. And we all know how that has ended up in the past. So this Pride Month, we want to recognize the valuable contribution of all the LGBTQ individuals in our nation and our county, and reaffirm our commitment to stand with them in their ongoing struggle against all discrimination and injustice. And as President Biden recognized Pride Month, he said, we recognize the resilience and determination of so many individuals fighting to live freely and authentically. They open hearts and minds, they lay the foundation for more than just equitable America. In Pride Month, we affirm our obligation to uphold the dignity of every person and dedicate ourselves to protecting everyone, the most vulnerable among us, especially. So thank you guys, and happy Pride.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, Eric.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Lynn, for inviting me to present. I saw that the topic of the agenda is youth programs, and I definitely want to make sure I'm on topic, but I want to make sure that it's most applicable to Arlington County. And I know our Fathers in Tech program, where we have several sources of funding from both the county and a grant. And I think that's probably most applicable to the families that we serve. Now, we do have youth programs, and but none of them are in Arlington County. They're in Fairfax County and the city of Alexandria. And so I just wanted to ping Lynn and see, do you want to hear about all of our programs or the ones that are most applicable to Arlington?
I think all the programs, when I browse your website, Eric, I was excited by all that you guys are doing. So I definitely, I think it's useful for us to hear.
Okay, that's fine. And I have a deck for any way we want to do
Okay.
it. But I'll introduce myself. My name's Eric King. I am excited. I see Rick on here and Deborah and Lynn and Jamie. And I know them from my work with the Court Service Unit. I worked with the Arlington County Court Service Unit for 13 years, 10 years as a juvenile probation officer, 3 years as a supervisor, and I had a great time. I made so many great relationships within the schools and social services, and it helped to shape the work that I do as an executive director of the Capital Youth Empowerment Program. So for those that don't know me, I do understand the Arlington County community in an intimate way, because as a juvenile probation officer, you go into people's houses and do investigations and just understand the family dynamics throughout the entire community. And so very interesting occupation, and I learned a lot. But let me start with this slide deck here. All right, let's see here, slideshow. All right, so I'll start with, I'm one of the co-founders. I have a twin brother named Isaac. He is also lives in the area, and we founded the Capital Youth Empowerment Program in 2008, probably my third year as a juvenile probation officer. And we had a vision of providing services for folks where there were gaps. And we were both youth basketball coaches and come from a home that we were raised by a single mom. And so we understood that fatherhood was a big gap for underserved populations. And so we started this organization. Our current mission is to promote lifelong learning and economic empowerment in underserved communities through social, educational, and workforce skill development. And so instead of giving someone a fish, it's teaching them how to fish. And so we dial in on what are the deficits that folks have that keeps them from being able to thrive. And skill development, we want to be a part of the solution. So skill development is what we focus on. We want to level the playing field for the underserved. That's kind of our motto, and where we want to provide support in our community. And so we have a variety of programs. We have a fatherhood component, and we started with this program. It is to support men in being responsible, nurturing, and informed parents, and also being positively engaged in their child's life. This is core. You learn a lot from your parents. I mean, this is where you get foundational learning. And if you are missing a parent or missing half of that equation, you are, disadvantaged in some way. We also have a focus on the economic empowerment of fathers. But our Fathers in Touch classes are 12 weeks. We use a curriculum called 24/7 Dad. We have monthly activities and also professional presentations, including domestic violence, child support enforcement, and mental health and substance abuse professionals. It's really about skill development and parenting for men, how to co-parent and how to engage their children in a positive way. And we're in Fairfax County, Arlington County, the city of Alexandria, and we recently expanded to Washington, D.C. with a partnership with Martha's Table. Teen sexual health. This is the next program. It was an outgrowth of the work we were doing with men. We started to work with T.C. Williams High School in the city of Alexandria, and they had a teen pregnancy program there and wanted to focus on males. And so we tailored a program to focus on male athletes, and it expanded over the years. It's a group-based program. It's 8 sessions that we engage kids around, sexual health, HIV, STDs, unexpected pregnancies, really giving students an adult to talk to about these issues and just help them navigate in a fact-based way. And we're funded through a federal grant in Alexandria, but also locally in the Fairfax County area. We also do teen dating violence. We usually pair these up, the Project Success with one of the curriculums, either HYPE or Safe Dates. And if we work with a group and we do Project Success, then we'll follow that up with teen dating violence. And this is programming 8 week sessions talking about what a healthy relationship, what an unhealthy, and what a abusive relationship looks like. And we're only in Fairfax County doing this program through local funding, but it is a service that our organization provides. We also are into STEM now. I started piloting STEM programs last year with 5th graders, and the economic empowerment piece, especially with Amazon HQ2 coming to our area, we have to really help communities, especially underserved communities, understand what's coming and like how to prepare for that. And so we said, let's expose these kids, demystify STEM, and help engage them with mentors. And so we started this decoded mentoring program, and won a grant. So we actually did the pilot at Drew Elementary in Arlington, and then we did another pilot in Alexandria, partnered with the community and the school system, and won a $100,000 grant. And so we're working at 2 elementary schools with their underserved populations. And what it includes is each week we have a 2-hour session with the kids, and 1 hour is STEM focused. So it's like a STEM classroom. They do STEM projects and exploration. We do technical skill development there. But then we have mentors that come in for the 2nd hour from George Mason, Howard, and engage the kids around, systems navigation, mentoring them on being first generation and going to college, what that road looks like, and in hopes that they can start to visualize themselves in some of these fields. We also have guest speakers from STEM careers come in and talk to the kids about what that looks like. And what we're measuring is developmental assets. We're trying to create these protective factors for the kids. And we just concluded last week and graduated with the kids. And we have 1 more year with the current grant, but we'd love to expand this program because it's really about exposing kids to what STEM is, helping them not to be intimidated, and then to provide that level of support from that peer-based learning with the mentoring, the college kids, and we even had some high school kids that were going to college that were mentors, and we thought it was awesome, and we're trying to expand upon the STEM. And we also do workforce development. That skill development is critical. We matched this up with our fatherhood program and paired up with an advanced manufacturing innovation institute called NextFlex out of Silicon Valley and went after a federal grant. We won the grant. So it's a 5-year grant, $5 million for the next 5 years to and it's all about our Northern Virginia community. So Arlington County is included, and it's to support not only the fatherhood piece, but also workforce development. And so the funding is going toward career coaching. We've created a pre-apprenticeship program in construction that's aligned with the Carpenters Union. And we're also doing, another partner is Melwood, and they're helping with computer training programs. So they have a program called Melwood Ability, and they help with stackable credentials and creating that pathway for folks to get into these computer IT jobs with MITRE and KPMG. and earn a livable wage. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is helping these underserved communities find pathways to quickly get into the knowledge economy and not be spectators or low wage workers, but be a part of our economy. And so you have to gain skills and you need support along that journey. And so that was the vision around some of the work we've done. And that program, Fathers in Touch, is now kind of morphed into Fathers in Tech. The things that I'll throw out there is the way we've been able to level up as an organization is our strategic partnerships. NextFlex, they do the STEM ecosystem development and helped us to secure that federal grant, but also working collaboratively with the local jurisdictions to work with social services, the court service unit, to access these underserved populations and get them the services that they need. We partner with Virginia Tech, the Calhoun Discovery Program, and we're looking to do a STEM workshop. We're piloting a STEM workshop this summer to introduce teens to smart construction and innovative manufacturing opportunities. So we had that 2-week workshop will start in July, and that'll be in Old Town. And we've engaged the Arlington County school system and certain stakeholders to make sure there's some Arlington County students in that program as well. So that's my presentation. We have, like I said, various ways we're trying to impact the community, but we believe you have to do it at every level, elementary school, middle school, and also adult populations to really move the needle. So I'm open to any questions if folks have any questions about what we're doing and what the future looks like. The Fathers in Tech program we do circulate information about that, and we will have a physical location in Arlington County once we go back into in-person. So that's probably the easiest program for families in Arlington to access, because it's well funded and HQ2 is right there. The cool thing about the fathers that will graduate from Fathers in Tech pre-apprenticeship program is they will get jobs at the HQ2 worksite, making $25 to $30 an hour with benefits. So that'll just be the beginning of their career journey. And so we're really excited about that. We just kicked off our first cohort on Saturday.
I think I saw a hand and then it went away, so I couldn't see who it was. Feel free to unmute yourself. If you had
Eric.
Yes.
Eric, I enjoyed your presentation. I was hoping to learn a little more about how is it that you guys address the financial literacy piece?
Sorry, I muted myself. It's called Flex Factor. We work with NextFlex. They have a curriculum that talks about financial stability and things of that nature. And so it's one of the webinars throughout the group-based work that we do. So we do 12 sessions of the 24/7 DAD curriculum, but we do 4 sessions where we're talking about soft skills, we're talking about financial literacy, and talking about interpersonal skills and things of that nature. And so we touch on that during our Flex Factor webinars. And so we try to hit it at a high level. It's only 2 hours, but around savings, creating a savings account, bank account, credit, and all those fundamentals that one would need. And then if the individual needs more support around that, they work with their career coach in a one-on-one format.
Hi, Eric. This is Laura Newton. I work for APS. How do students get referred to your program?
Very carefully. No, so when we were at Drew, we worked with the principal to handpick students that would be a good fit for the 5th grade program. We did the same thing when we were working at the other elementary schools. We used the principals that know their student body the best to handpick folks to come into the program that are a good fit, because we don't necessarily know the students that well. For the high school workshops, we did reach out to stakeholders within the school system. Who do we reach out to? A few different folks, but Virginia Tech mostly had the lead on that. And usually it was like student advancement or the diversity and inclusion team to identify the highest need, but the students that show the most promise. So we're looking to find the folks that may not be in the gifted and talented, but are, they're college, they can go to college, but don't necessarily get the same support as the gifted and talented students.
So can I add one more question? Could school counselors be able to reach out to you and make recommendations if they saw a kid that would benefit from your program?
Yes, yes. And so we may want to talk offline about that. I know that Virginia Tech College Access Collaborative has started to develop the relationship with the school counselors. And so I think they pushed it out to the school counselors as well as some of the other stakeholders that we engaged.
So I just want to say your program sounds wonderful. And I think that young people really need mentors and programs like yours. They truly, truly benefit from that. So thank you. I think that you're doing, the program sounds wonderful.
Appreciate that. Rick?
So great to see you. It sounds like you're doing such wonderful things. I was, this is a group that think does a lot of thinking, looks for ways to collaborate, kind of wants to have its pulse on what's going on in the community. So I wanted to ask, how do you see kids in this almost post-COVID time, easing back into a more normal routine? What are their needs out there that are maybe either not being met or that we need to be particularly mindful about? Many of us don't have the same contact with the very children we're serving in the way we used to. So I'm wondering, someone has their hand, who also has his hand on the pulse, how do you see all this, and what recommendations do you have?
I guess the big things that we see jumping out is, especially in the workforce, like folks are not wanting to transition back to low wage jobs if they have received like the benefits or are exploring other options. They're not rushing back to say, hey, I want to work for $5 an hour, $7 an hour, or whatever that may be. Everyone on this call understands you can't live on that in the DC area, and the cost of living is only going up. So we're really trying to explore. And then also on the industry side, what we're seeing is there's a huge need for skilled labor. And so how do you plug that gap? How do you plug the gap between, people not wanting to go back to the low wage labor versus the places where they need skilled labor? Like, people need guidance to get there. They're not going to naturally just figure it out. So that's what we're seeing. There's a gap there between where people don't want to do low wage work, but need to gain the skills. And we're trying to also plug that gap with teens, because teens get into a space where, the ones that go to college. They're going to be all right. They'll figure it out. They're on their journey. It's the teens that aren't necessarily going to college. What's their pathway? And so that's why we want to figure out this stackable credential piece for the computers. That mid-tier STEM worker is needed everywhere, and it's only going to grow. The need for that is only going to grow. So how do we build that within the school system and build a culture where if you don't go to college, it's not frowned upon. There's a place for you in this local economy that you can make good money and you can gain the skills and even get your employer to pay for college later on. So those are the things that we're looking at. It's just like Amazon is building that building, and it's going to change the landscape of the communities we live in. How can we help the community adapt? and people just don't seem to, move fast enough. But we're trying to become a part of the solution, and also, like I said, collaborate. We have various partners like the Carpenters Union. We partner with Melwood, NextFlex out of Silicon Valley. It's how can you create partnerships where everyone brings value, and we start to create pathways and infrastructure for folks to thrive.
I think Michael Brown had his hand up earlier. Michael?
I wasn't going to ask, but Laura took my question. So it kind of answered. I wanted to know how were students chosen or how were they picked? But thank you.
Eric, I have a couple questions. The first one's an easy one. Is there a fee charge for the services that you provide, or?
No, we don't want any barriers to actually do it, someone coming in. So we've never charged any fees for services or anything like that. We do grants and contracts, and then we're able to serve them.
That's great. That's great. And so no barriers. That's a nice segue to my second part of the question, is that, part of your presence here today is really in line with what the partnership is trying to do. And you started your presentation with the introduction of, how you conceive of this, of your work is to reach the represented, underserved communities. And as Arlington Partnership Children, Youth, Families is really centering race and equity and increasing that focus more than ever. I think that's part of our struggle too, is how do we get to a point where we are more representative, of the community? How do we reach the communities that have been difficult for us to reach? So it sounds like, when I hear your programs, I'm so thrilled because it looks like you've been doing so much of this work. So do you have some sage advice, for us in terms of, pointers about reaching communities that typically do not get to our service, or it's hard for us to get to?
Yes. One of the things that I learned, working with the court service unit, as well as growing the nonprofit, was the development of relationship with individuals in the community, from being a government agent of the government versus being like someone that works for a community-based organization. It was night and day. And we're able to develop a different type of rapport and relationship. And that's how we learn as humans, is through relationship, right? So who you're comfortable with, who you trust, is where you're going to learn. The defenses won't be up. You'll be in learning mode. And so that's half of it, is just having a level of understanding that government agencies, whether it's social work or court service unit, has a stigma with it because of the historic context. And folks at times view it as a threat. And so it's really working together. That, as you saw the government seals on there, we work together with local government so that we can fill the gaps that the government can't do. And so it's just having a level of awareness. We're also now layering in, as you can see, higher education with Virginia Tech, George Mason, and private industry. So, the Calhoun Discovery Program is funded by David Calhoun, the president of Boeing. And so it's really having everyone at the table and working together and being in alignment and having strategic investment in these communities and working together. And so where we might not have the same infrastructure as the local government, you guys can be a pipeline for services. The school system is an excellent pipeline for services. And, as long as folks are working collaboratively and there's resource, it's well resourced, I think there's a lot of value in it, because then we can also ping private industry to see what they're looking for, so that the kid that doesn't go to college can also find that career and that place and find a good livable wage so that they can be a part of the community. And we need everybody, we need all hands on deck, because that's the strength of America, is our diversity. So it's not seeing diversity as a weakness, but to see it as, let's be strength focused, strength based, and leverage it so that we can use it as a strategic advantage.
Thank you, Eric.
I have a question. I just don't know how, I can't figure out still how to raise my hand, but I must be over. Anyway, this is Judy. Eric, do you work with, since you said you work with Arlington in some ways, now do you work, say, with our Career Center staff or students, or have people told you about, I mean, do you need to know things like we have a Teen Summer Expo every year where kids come to find out about summer jobs and opportunities? We have a variety of events that go on in schools that have special programs and initiatives for kids. Do you already have like a person with APS who's your go-to on that? Or do you need our help with that?
Well, we don't have a lot of like youth programs because we don't have funding in Arlington County to do youth programs. So, like generally we focus on whoever the customer is. So if Alexandria or Fairfax County is funding these programs, then we put our resources and lean in there. Right now, most of the services that we provide in Arlington County are around the fatherhood. And so we do have relationships with social services. We do have relationships with the court service unit, also probation and parole. And so that's where we focus our attention in Arlington, because that's where we're funded and that's where we have customers. So generally that's how it works, you know, just like any nonprofit, wherever your customer is and wherever you have that focus of funding, that's where we focus our attention.
Okay. Thank you.
But we're more than willing, like I said, if the opportunity comes to collaborate, to go after grants, that's what we're open to, is let's work together, let's use our resources, let's find other resources and bring them into our community. So it doesn't necessarily have to be out of the county budget. It could be from a federal, you know, a federal grant or something like that. And so that's what I like to do, is keep our minds open. I have an entrepreneurial mindset to find resources, and where there's a will, there's a way. So if folks have the notion and really want to work together, I'm open to working together to bring resources into Arlington and to help teams to develop more programs with Virginia Tech and George Mason, and handcraft it for the kids that are, you know, in the schools.
Do you work with girls also? You've talked about boys, but do you have girls programs?
Yeah, so Project Success is co-ed now. So we work with the Boys and Girls Club. We work with all sorts of camps and things of that nature in Fairfax County with the Safe Days, Project Success, and Alexandria. So we definitely work with girls. And the current grant we have is just male focused on the STEM, but when we did the original pilot, we had girls in it in Arlington. And so I think that's much needed. We need, it's just the partners that we had, they had the SOHO program that focused on girls. So they didn't want us to, we didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
Mm-hmm. And do you connect with, say, different housing areas or with programs like Buckingham Youth Brigade and different groups in housing, lower income housing around Arlington that have youth programs?
Gates of Boston and stuff. That was, I was thinking.
Gates of Boston.
Yeah, share a like our contact resource list and vice versa. I know that the Minority Student Achievement Coordinator, who Laura Newton knows, the ones at all the schools, but I have a relationship, the one at Yorktown, because I did a girls technovation project for like 8 years with them, getting girls in STEM. But I definitely, yeah, I'm gonna pull out our big old lists of partners, and Eric, we can look at cross-pollinating those sorts of resources.
But do they have to bring money? I mean, do these programs need to bring money to the table in order, you know, funding?
You have a grant. He's fine.
Well, no, I'm hearing Eric say that, you know, he needs to connect with groups that have some funding. Right?
Well, it's like, so it depends. So like for the fatherhood, it's well funded and we're good to go. So, but for the youth programs and the STEM, that's where we need the resources. So like I said, there's different areas that we service, and we're doing some pilot STEM programs. If we find, like, if we can collaborate and work together, we can go after money together and then bring those resources in and then leverage some of the partners that we have, like Virginia Tech, that wants to do, they want to do the STEM programs in Northern Virginia because they have this innovation campus that's going up. So I think if folks are open to working together, I think there's a lot of opportunity for the grants that I've written for because of HQ2 foundations and the federal government. It makes a compelling story to get the money because it's going to change the landscape of the community.
Yeah. And the work, I don't know if they're still called the same thing, the workforce investment groups, do you work with them? I mean, Alexandria.
Well, I think it's Alexandria and Arlington together.
Right, it's combined. Arlington.
Yeah, they supported us in going after the federal grant. And so we definitely, they want us to be a vendor on there. And so we're working collaboratively with them. David Remick and his team.
Yeah, Dave Remick. Okay. Thanks.
Well, I didn't mean to take up so much time, but thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can find some synergy and I don't know, I'll put my contact information in the chat. So if anybody wants to reach out, please reach out.
Thank you so much, Eric. It was really, I learned a ton. So it was really nice to hear from you, and I'm sure good for the courts folks to see alumni this evening. So thanks so much for joining us in the evening as well. It's not always the best to have an after hours speaking engagement, so we appreciate it. Good to see you. You're welcome to stay, of course, for the rest of our meeting for the presentation on Departments of Parks and Rec, but we're going to go ahead with that. Moving on with the agenda. So Eric put his contact information in the chat, and I don't think anyone's just joining by phone, so folks can see that. I'm going to turn it to Kimberly Baldini for her presentation on Department of Parks and Rec summer programs. So very timely, as the first day of summer is, believe it or not here yet and coming up.
Hi, it sure feels like it. This is like one of our busiest weeks. So we actually start training all of our, oh gosh, I think we hired almost 200 summer camp staff this year. And so last night I did a training, like we've been really busy with training. So I think it's basically a one-track mind right now is summer camp. So it's great. I will talk your ears off about summer camp today. I have just like really 2 real slides just to kind of keep me on track. This is one of my favorite pictures. I think my child was in this group, but they were absent. So I keep scanning every time I see this picture, looking for my kid, and they're not there. But anyways, so as you guys know, we had to cancel camp last summer. It was devastating to people who operate camp. It was devastating. And so we have been working since really last year, trying to figure out a way to come back and to bring summer camp. And so Sherry, you can go to the next slide. Okay. So really, you know, we went through the process, like how are we going to be able to do this? It kind of seemed insurmountable when we were starting back in January. Schools weren't really actually getting back into schools yet. And all of the mitigation factors were like really tight, and we were just really not sure what was going to happen, but we jumped in. And so what we did was we benchmarked with other jurisdictions. There is a camp coalition of all of Northern Virginia, and they all get together, and it's this great brain trust and really bouncing ideas off each other, and really how they're going to be able to pull off the program. We also followed all of the Virginia Department of Health and CDC guidelines, which by the way, change like every single day, I swear. So really trying to keep track of those. We wrote over 25 SOPs in the early spring on how to operate camp, and we are in the process of changing almost every single one of them. So it's really been something that's been changing a lot. Also, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. And so, oh, can you go back one more?
Sorry.
We're not quite there yet. Yeah, I have a lot to say. Anyways, so we're also we looked at our mitigating strategies. So really what we're basing our practices on for camp this summer is cleaning protocols, physical distancing. We're still doing that. Hand washing, contact tracing, isolation, and quarantine. And we are working with public health if we have any cases. So offerings, we have, for those of you who don't know, we're doing something new this year. It was supposed to happen, well, no, new this year. Contracted camps are registering through the Parks and Recreation office. So we used to count the camps in our repertoire, but we're really being able to track them and keep a closer eye on how many kids are registering. So we have 558 camp offerings. That means each week of camp. Right now, as of last week, we had over 10,658 enrollments. There's a variety of camps. We really tried hard to have a full variety of camps for people's comfort levels and for them to be able to access. So we have half-day camps, full-day camps. We don't have a lot of extended day this year, just because we figured from 9 to 3, if children are having to wear face masks, everyone's going to be fatigued, and we're staying in these tight little pods this year. So you know what, guys? I have to just hold on. I've received numerous phone calls from an unknown phone number and a voicemail. So I think there's an emergency. Do you guys mind hanging on 1 second? I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
That is the life of the Parks and Rec folks. They are especially this week, I'm sure. There's just so much change. I know that some of the camps we've been signing up for, things are just changing and moving all the time. So we'll give Kimberly a minute to handle the crisis. The bat phone rang.
You guys, I can't make this up. I'm worried. My husband just left to go to a meeting in Old Town. I'm like, oh my gosh, is that the police? Like 3 times and a voicemail. It was the melting pot confirming our reservation for Friday. So I'm so sorry. It just really freaked me out.
Oh.
So I apologize, and hopefully everybody can chuckle about it like I'm laughing. Anyways, back on track. So what I was saying was we really focus on lots of different camps. So we also have indoor camps, outdoor camps, and we changed our model. We used to not have camps outside. So we have some summer fun programs that are at Highview Park, Westover Park, and those programs are strictly outdoors, drop off and pick off from the park. Some of you guys who were part of playground camps when you were younger, it's a total throwback to, that's how I grew up, going to playground camp. So we're pretty excited about offering that. And those are really for the families who just didn't want their children inside. We also have some specialty camps as well. And we do have therapeutic recreation camps, and those are for individuals with disabilities who would need to receive a little bit more support than you would get with inclusion in a general rec camp. And so another thing I'll plug real fast is we have Rec on Wheels coming back this summer. For those of you who don't know, it is we throw a whole bunch of park and rec fun in a van, and we take it to different parks around the county. And we really try to draw out the people who might not already be invested in our programs and show them how fun Parks and Rec could be. So if you're near Highview, Fort Scott, Penrose, or Tyrrell Hill, be on the lookout. You can look on our website as well and see what specific days that they'll be out there. And those programs, you do need to register this year. So, okay, we can go to the next slide now, Sherry, thank you. All right. So really, we were focusing on how to best support our campers this summer. And so, as I said, we make sure that all of our indoor locations have COVID-19 protocols that are in place. Those are really, you know, single directional travel path, keeping our camps away from the general public when possible. We've also summer school and any locations that we are co-located with summer schools are kind of on their end. We're on our end, doing our best to just keep our footprint. Outdoor parks all have shade and restroom facilities. I get asked that a lot. Are there bathrooms? Are there sinks? How will you keep kids clean? We made sure that they all have facilities. We're also bringing in tents and coolers for water to keep the kids cool. And as far as staff training, as I said, like we really have like kicked off staff training really hard, and we're having a lot of fun with it. We're doing program planning, how to run a safe and fun program, making sure that there is a balance of activities like art, sports, creative play, and all weeks of camp that are themed. And really, I guess I should throw a caveat. The camps I'm talking in detail about, those are DPR operated camps. Our contracted vendor camps are also wonderful, but these are DPR focused camps. Also, we're doing safety training, which includes both regular safety issues and COVID this summer. I helped lead that last night. And we're also doing Stewards of Children, which teaches staff how to prevent, recognize, react, and react responsibly to child sex abuse. And our staff are mandated reporters, and we are training them in how to be a mandated reporter. Also, it came up, and I think I got brought back because I was speaking to the mental health subgroup. We are cognizant that kids are kind of, some of them are emerging from their homes for the first time. And I don't know about you, but my social skills are a little bit rusty. I play really nicely by myself, and I prefer to be at home, but going out there and having to suddenly hop in can be really overwhelming. And I think we're underestimating that in kids. And so we're really focusing on what type of behavioral interventions we can have for those kiddos who really need a little bit of extra love and extra support. Our staff go through a training called Include You, which also talks about, it's inclusion all the way around. And it gives techniques, if there's incentive plans. And also we do talk about, and we have the flyers, Lynn and I are connecting on getting those taken care of, but at each camp, sometimes we have kids who are in a little bit of a crisis or present with a crisis. And so we're able to contact their parents, provide them information to get same-day behavioral health services, really, make that connection. And that's what we have done and will continue to do this summer as well. And I talk really fast, and really that's just a quick blurb of what we're doing for summer camp. As you can tell, I'm really excited. And we're really looking forward to getting back with our kiddos. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But my screen went blank.
Oh, sorry.
Is that just me?
It might have been me. Or is it back? I turned off.
No. Well, I don't need to see you guys to answer questions. I can just, it can be like a podcast. So as long as you guys can all hear.
Looks like Megan may have a question. Megan's hand's up.
Okay, Megan?
I do have a question. So as the parent of a 12-year-old, so I'm almost a graduate of the camp programs, but not quite. I just wanted to say things seem to have been going really smoothly. We had a contract camp that canceled last year. Arlington gave us lots of notices that we had the credit to spend again this year. So for us parents who might have forgotten about these things and left money on the table, it was really nice to get those reminders, and had really responsive office who got back to us on that. And so thank you so much. How is, and I anticipate the answer, but how's enrollment this summer?
We're doing really well. We do have a little bit of space in our camps, and typically we don't. And I can tell you that my junior jam programs, which are for 11-year-olds and plus, which they're both outdoor locations. So it might be it because, do kids really, teenagers really want to hang out outside from 1 to 5 p.m. in Virginia in the summer. But those are our low enrollment camps, and we ended up actually consolidating those two camps. But in general, we have long wait lists. I will tell you that we haven't been able to have as many camps or enroll as many children as we usually would like to. So we're really pleased with the amount of kids who have signed up.
Kimberly, do you have, this is Judy. My kids both my kids who now have their own children have been, unpaid, volunteer helpers at camps, and then they worked their way up and, were whatever, somewhat paid for their work for the summer with campers. Are you doing that again with older kids?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Judy. I didn't bring it up because this summer we are not having volunteers in the program, which is definitely, it's not what we would like, but we're trying to minimize the number of people in the programs. So we don't have, but hopefully next summer we do have, starting at 15 years old, volunteers. And then they apply to be student assistants. And we do have a lower number of student assistants this year as well. But yes, our goal is to be able to get them in as campers and then volunteers and student assistants, and then up to our recreation assistants.
That's great. It worked. It was great for my kids. And they did go on to, work for other sports camps in the summer, and then on to other jobs, but work at the pool and different things. But it's a great way to start as a volunteer. So next year, if that can happen, that would be terrific.
It is, absolutely. Full disclosure, my child was a volunteer in 2019 and had a great time over with the art program, and was disappointed that it was canceled last year and this year.
Yeah. Oh, I understand about this year and last year. Totally.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I knew. I don't have anybody who's going to apply this year, but I was just curious because I know how.
Yeah, no, that was a great question. Thank
how
you.
good it is for the kids and for the staff.
Yeah.
Looks like we have Rick and Ann raising their hands. I didn't see who raised their hands first. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can go.
Okay.
Mute off. Kim, great job. I'm so glad that you guys are out there doing your thing. It makes such a difference for these kids. Imagine them being cooped up. My son is going to be one of the workers in one of those outdoor camps too. So
oh, great.
Totally invested and really glad that you guys are out there. Could you tell me, this might be a little outside of your presentation, but what kinds of things will be available or out there for teenagers who maybe are too old for camp, but too young for a job, or, just, live in the neighborhood? Are there places that they can go and hang out and do fun things with that are kind of semi-supervised or at least monitored? Because I am very concerned about this population of kids who could get into a lot of trouble.
They could. As a mom of a 15 and 12-year-old, I know all about this. Our junior jam programs are really structured to be those types of programs. They are in the afternoon, they are drop-in. So they're very inexpensive. I believe this year it was $30 for 2 weeks, and you can come and go as you please. You can sign in, sign out. There's a whole cadre of activities. We're having it at Aurora Hills and Langston Brown Community Center. And I believe there's one other location, an outdoor location. And those were our drop-in, come do something different. In a typical year, they would go on field trips once a week. And so I think that was the draw. Maybe that's why our numbers are low, because we're not traveling because of buses and vans. But as far as, I can go talk to Kevin. I know you know Kevin, and see what else is going on in the community. But that, like, for DPR, that was really like our big draw was the junior jam program.
We can go to Ann.
Hi, thanks. And I want to echo Megan's comments about, as a parent of a camper, we were also disappointed last summer when things shut down, but we really appreciated the communications from Parks and Rec throughout, this past registration season, and making sure all the credits were claimed and all that. So I think we really just appreciate that a lot. And I also speak as a parent of people on the wait list for some of the county-led programs, but we are in some of the contractor camps. I guess I have so many questions and just someone whose child I think was in the arts camp that your child was working in
Oh,
in 2019. So I think
oh, okay.
there's a connection there too. But just a couple of questions related to camp, and then other things that might not be in your wheelhouse. One about the, or I guess a couple about the camps. One about the fee reduction program, and like what is utilization of that, kind of comparing to past years. And then kind of a follow-up, has there been any kind of like analysis of who's coming to camp, like who got registered in terms of, you know, demographics, neighborhoods, that sort of thing?
So those are great questions, and I don't actually have an answer for those, and I can circle back with you on the demographic. We do a lot of that data kind of towards the end of the year when we do our debriefs. We debrief at the end of each summer to really see like who came to camp, what we could do better, where we could place camps better, and all of that. As far as the fee reduction utilization this year, I can get back to you all on that. I'm sure everybody would like that information. It's pretty easy to pull, but I don't have it like right at the tip of my fingers.
Thank you. And then I was also wondering if you could speak for, and again, this is maybe not your wheelhouse, on not the summer camps, but summer programming that Parks and Rec is offering, and then kind of previewing the fall and what we can expect in that.
So as far as we are not operating in the broader context that we did last year, the outdoor programs that we had last summer, just because we just don't have the bandwidth. We are still operating with a lot of full-time staff. We are in a staffing crunch that kind of was mentioned earlier. We are a little bit low on temporary staff this summer. So we really did focus on having a lot of focusing in on camps. But we are doing, like I said, we're doing Rec on Wheels, and there might be a couple other programs that I don't have off the, I just don't know exactly which those summer programs are, but I can definitely get those to you guys as well. But we also have our Enjoy Arlington classes that typically always, you know, do a summer session, and we have those going on as well. So looking towards the fall, we're looking at, you know, getting more of our community centers back online. Really, the community centers are being used heavily to operate summer camps. We chose to make a big investment in getting summer camp back. And just to kind of explain it a little bit, the footprint of summer camp is a lot larger than it typically is, because where you could put a camp in 1 or 2 rooms, you kind of need to spread them out because we're potting the children, so they're in smaller groups. So if we need to contact trace or there's an outbreak, we're able to kind of contain the groups and not necessarily have to shut down camps. So it's kind of taken up a little bit room. But we're really excited for the fall. We are looking at bringing back after school programs, our break blasts, our out of school days. We're really kind of looking at ramping up and getting back to where we were before COVID, especially with Lubber Run opening up. We're very excited about that. We're planning a big opening event in the beginning of July. So we're really starting to get back to where we were.
And I want to say that the Girl Scout Council of the nation's capital still had to cancel my daughter's overnight camp because of staffing issues. And I know a lot of the pools in the area have not been able to get lifeguard staff. So kudos to you guys for kicking it up and making sure everybody's going to have responsible paid people to help them out as counselors, because I know it's a struggle this year.
It was an immense challenge this year. We just kind of wrapped up hiring, and it wasn't even as many as we would like. We like to overhire a little bit because this workforce tends to drop off a little bit if they get a better offer or something, you know, their friends traveling cross country, you know, things like that.
Work, yeah.
And so we have what we have. So it's been a challenge for sure. Anybody else? I'm still like total black screen, so I apologize if I'm looking at you guys all goofy.
Oh, I want to echo many of the voices here, Kimberly, and really giving you and your team kudos for, striking that balance between ensuring safety and providing as much a robust of a program offering as possible. And it's a yeoman's task, and I really appreciate hearing that. I am particularly appreciative of hearing the intentional anticipation of increased, perhaps, mental health challenges of the youth that you'll be encountering. And Jamie's here, and she can speak for our bureau as well. But we are here to support the whole spectrum of support, from any kind of consultation to training to even same-day access. As youth are presenting or as they're engaged in your services. So please continue to talk with us, and we'll definitely get you the flyer and then the resources that you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They come in handy.
Yes. Jamie, do you want to add anything in terms of how we may support as youth are engaging in summer activities?
Sure. So we can definitely provide the flyer with the number, and anyone can call if they have questions. I believe it's Jennifer who's doing the Stewards of Children training. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're supporting in that way, training with that training. And we are also resuming in-person services the beginning of July, and on a small scale, and scaling our way up. So we will continue to have mental health services available.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we'll also make sure you have our information on parent support groups and services that we have in English and Spanish that's going to continue through the summer. And as you see kids who are presenting challenges, you can anticipate families presenting challenges, and that's a nice way to refer parents and families to our services too.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Kimberly, will you be referring parents, or encouraging parents to talk with school counselors or somebody in the fall if they have questions, or with students who are, expressing some concerns? How's that going to work? Because I assume you don't have contacts in the summer with APS, but
we don't.
Laura can tell me
No.
that.
Yeah, there is a question on the PAR, and that's our participant information record that every child's parent has to fill out, that does ask who their social worker is, and that most of the time it's blank. But we could, we wouldn't necessarily have our camp staff, our directors, but if there was like a real deep concern or issue, we could work with, like, at my level or at my unit manager's level, working to make sure that the child can continue with services. But our real first line of defense, because it's in the summer, is to refer them over to Jamie's team.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. Just thinking of kids who maybe it's not a super serious thing, but you can just see some anxiety or milder issues like that, someone could say, the counselor say, you probably have counselors in your schools. And then if they had a sheet of paper there that said, how to contact counselors in the different elementary, middle, and high schools, I guess elementary and middle. I don't know.
That is a good idea. No, that's a good idea. Maybe we could even, just kind of bulk up the resource that we hand to parents. Typically when we give a resource, it's because there's an emergent need.
Yeah.
We could also do, additional resources, and, open that line of communication that, you can talk to the school, and the school can help you receive services or whatever. I can tell you that I know that April Rosenthal's team, she's the unit manager for TR. They do work a lot more closely with their individuals and with schools.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great comments and feedback here. Any other last thoughts or questions for Kimberly, or other reflections from Eric's presentation? I think he left, but Anything that came up for you since this presentation you can share here? No? Okay. Megan, do you have anything else for us before we just mention of the next meeting at the end of the month?
I don't.
Okay.
Good to see everybody.
Yes, we really appreciate you, being able to join us today as a makeup session. And we do have our normal, regularly scheduled, June 30th meeting, and we have a good lineup for us. We have Samia Bird, the county's diversity and equity officer. I think that's the right title. Will come to talk about the equity toolkit, which I'm very much looking forward to. And we may have a couple other community groups join in presentation that would dovetail well into her presentation as well. So we'll send, I'm not sure if Sally has sent out the invitation, but we'll send out the agenda to confirm, as we get closer to the time.
It should be
And
this.
I have one question.
Yes.
And this may seem small, but it seems important to me. I see when we have anything that comes out from the partnership, even when it's going to the public or something, we're suddenly becoming APCYF always, never Arlington Partnership for Children, Youth, and Families. And I'm concerned that some people really resent, that kind of jargon, abbreviations, like how are you supposed to know?
Yeah.
And especially when we're talking about children and families, I want people to know that there is a partnership for children, youth, and families. I really don't want, and I just don't even know how it happened. It just all at once, everything on our website and everything has this abbreviation. And I guess I, for one, I don't know how other people feel, partnership members, but I'd like to see us go back, even though it's longer, but
Right.
we do make clear that county departments, we don't abbreviate all those, because how would they know what the abbreviations for the departments? And I want people to feel welcome and not put off. I want to make sure. I'm not saying people would, but some people feel like the people in the know what APCYF is. But the broader community, if they knew, they continue to know that there is a partnership for children, youth, and families, I think that's a positive thing and worth a few more words. That's
a good point, Judy.
my request.
Yeah, I don't have the historical knowledge of how we moved away from partnership to the whole acronym. But I struggle for months I have to spell it out, and I have to, get the letters in the right order.
Yeah.
So I can imagine community members and their struggle to figure out what the acronym is as well.
Right. Well, I'd like to go back. Thinking of the community.
Yeah.
And their feelings, make it clear that there is such a group.
That's a good point.
I think it's reassuring to them to know that Arlington County is a partnership for children, youth, and families.
Right. It's more meaningful when you spell it out. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I do think so.
Thank you.
Thank you for understanding.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn at 7:18, a little bit early, give you some time back. Okay.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right,
Thank
thank
you, Megan.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Bye,
Have a nice
everybody.
evening.
Thank you.
See you next.
Bye-bye.
Bye.